Today's guest may not be a household name, but he carries one of the most important responsibilities imaginable. Benito Pacheco is a commercial airline pilot whose journey required years of training, sacrifice, and discipline, and thousands of hours in the cockpit before earning the privilege of flying passengers across oceans and over continents. Every takeoff places hundreds of lives in his hands. Every takeoff and every landing reflects preparation, judgment, and trust. Today, we'll explore the realities of life above the clouds, from turbulence and emergencies to family, perspective, and purpose, and uncover what it truly takes to become a professional pilot in the modern world. Benito, welcome.
Aloha.
To BrotherLee Time.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, boys. Appreciate it. It's been a long time coming. Really excited to be here, man.
Yeah, dude. We talked about this, I feel like for years.
It's been a long time we've been talking about this. Finally making it happen. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I want to say I love this man's energy. Every time I see him in the restaurant, that's how I know him. He's a guest in my restaurant with his lovely wife, Rachel, and has two wonderful sons that love me. I gotta say, they love me.
they do.
Let me turn this off. But you've always had an amazing energy that was infectious. And then my staff is always like, "Hey, dude, that guy's here again. He wants to see you, dude."
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fitting because, you know, here on the BrotherLee Time podcast, we really like to amplify the magic of the people of Hawaii, and you've always had this magic aspect to you. So thank you for being here. Commercial pilot.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. And that means a lot to me, bro. It really, really does. It really, really does. And my family does love you, bro.
Yes.
We look forward to going there every time. Every time we're there, we always ask for you. Even when you're not there, we're like, "Oh, Ty's not there today. Come on, man."
and your boys, you know, I remember numerous times, and their cousin, like taking them in the freezer.
In the freezer.
And it's just like the biggest joy for them.
Yeah,
you know?
they love it, man. They love it. They're always asking, "Hey, is Uncle Ty working today? Can we go ask for him?" I was like, "Yeah, just chill. He'll come by. I guarantee." Yeah.
I'll make my way.
Every time, bro. Every time.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So let's dig into this, man. You're a pilot for Hawaiian Airlines that was recently acquired by Alaska Airlines. Big merger, huge in the aviation world. How are you feeling today?
Today, so I've been at Hawaiian for a little bit now. I've been there for coming up on 7 years. Mm-hmm. And now that merger's just happened, it's been little over a year now, maybe 2. I don't even know the exact date of when it happened. But it's been a big change. It's been a big change from our perspective. Mm-hmm. Just change in not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, just a lot of changes because they acquired us, right? It's a merger, but they bought us. Mm-hmm. They bought Hawaiian. So because of that, like we're having to adjust everything that we do to what their procedures are, all that stuff. So we're having to make a lot of changes and they're making a lot of changes because they've never had like wide body aircraft because they only fly 737s, right? Mm-hmm. So it's been a big change for all of us, I think, on the Hawaiian side and on the Alaska side. I'm honestly, I'm grateful that they did because for a while there we weren't doing too hot after the pandemic. Hawaiian didn't really recover well. It's been a lot of change, but honestly, I'm happy to have a job and happy to go to work every day because if they wouldn't have purchased us, who knows, man? If they wouldn't have acquired us, who knows where we'd be? Who knows if we would have wound up in bankruptcy or wherever? You know, it happened to Aloha. It's happened to other companies before. It just happened to Spirit. You know, so you just never know, man. You never know how it's going to work out.
Okay, so I mean, there's a positive aspect to a larger company like Alaska acquiring our humble Hawaiian Airlines. And you still have a job. So that's amazing.
That's the positive for sure.
My brother and I, we use Hawaiian Airlines for a lot of our travels. I think we've rode Hawaiian for every flight that we've had, and maybe about 8 different trips that we went on in the past 2.5 years for this project. So we've had a lot of great experiences riding Hawaiian. I did have a little trouble the last time with my Atmos. My Atmos app, I was like, what is this? Forgot my password. Gotta figure shit out. But it was a seamless experience the last time I went to Hilo. I just got back a couple of days ago. So Big ups to Hawaiian.
There you go.
I kind of want to start in the beginning. You know, when did you decide I want to be a pilot?
So I'm going to rewind way back like 20 years. I've been flying for 20 years. So I'm going to rewind back even further than that.
Okay.
So right out of high school, I wanted to go to college, right? I grew up in northern New Mexico.
Okay.
So my folks, my dad worked at a grocery store. My mom made candles. So like we didn't have a lot of money, right? So they couldn't afford to send me to college. And I wanted to go to college. So I was looking at ways that I could support to pay for my way through college. And one of my dad's buddies was in the National Guard, and he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, what are your plans after high school?" I was like, "I'm going to go to school." He's like, "How are you going to pay for school?" I was like, "I'll probably get some loans and whatever not." And he's like, "Well, have you ever considered joining the Guard?" I'm like, I haven't, right? So I hadn't really thought about it at all. The military was never on my radar. So because of that, I went home. I did a little deep thinking, as deep as thinking as an 18-year-old can, right? Because bro, you know how it is when you're 18. You don't think about much, right?
Yeah.
There's only a couple things you think about, and that's not one of them. I'll tell you that. But so I thought about it. I was like, you know what? That might be a good opportunity for me. So I talked to my mom and dad. I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to do this. And they're like, okay, well, yeah, go for it. So I enlisted in the Guard, went to basic training, came back, and I was just going to be in for 4 years. That was my plan. 4 years, be done with college and get out. So fast forward, I get back from basic training, start going to school. And then after that, I was in the Guard, right? So I'd have to do my 1 weekend a month, my 2 weeks a year thing. While we were doing my 2 weeks a year thing, we were out in the field. We were sleeping in the mud for 2 weeks, bro. I was miserable, hating it. And this Black Hawk came and landed in the field to drop off supplies to us. And I was like, bro, I want to do that. That looks amazing. If I'm liking this already. So if I'm going to stay in, that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So I started talking to people, and they're like, so a couple of guys that I knew that flew, most of them in the Air Force, but they're like, oh, you have to take this test and go through here. So I started researching on what I had to do, right? So I had to retake the ASVAB because my score wasn't high enough to be a pilot. Mm-hmm. So I had to retake that. And then after that, I took it was called an AFAS test. I don't know what it's called now, but it was the test to get into pilot training, right? Mm-hmm. So I took that, and then I got a position. So I got a position in 2005 is when I got selected. So I went to Fort Rucker, Alabama for a year and a half, went through Warrant Officer Candidate School, and then went through helicopter training, and I started flying Blackhawks. So that's kind of how I started. That's what got me triggered to get into aviation, man. Yeah.
Blackhawks.
Yeah.
So
I flew helicopters.
A combat helicopter.
Yeah. It was. Well, when I got back to New Mexico, we were a medevac unit. So we had medics and crew chiefs in the back. So we would do like medical evacuation stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I never deployed with the Black Hawk, but we were in New Mexico. We were the only aviation asset that had a hoist. So we would do rescues in the mountains, because like people would go hiking and then they'd get like fall and break their leg or whatever. So we'd go rescue people all the time. I never deployed with that unit, because I eventually went on to fly airplanes after that. But yeah, that's how I got into flying, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so National Guard, Black Hawk, that's where you were doing rescue missions. And then how did you get into commercial flying?
So that was I got back from Alabama in 2006. And then from 2006, I was just, they call it RL progression. So you fly with an instructor still, even though you're already certified, you fly with an instructor until they get you progressed to where you don't have to be with an instructor anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So finished that up. We were doing we'd fly missions every once in a while. We're doing medevac, doing rescues. We were helping, like in the summertime out in New Mexico, there's a lot of fires. So we were dropping water on that. And then the fixed wing unit was getting ready to deploy to Iraq. And back in those days, to get into the fixed wing unit, you had to be flying for 20 years. And it was kind of like a good old boy club, right? It was like, oh yeah, you've been flying Hueys. Back then it was Hueys, right? You've been flying Hueys for 20 years, man. Come over to the fixed wing unit, fly the airplane for your last couple of years, and then you can retire and go cruise, right? So a lot of those guys were Vietnam era guys. They'd flown Hueys in Vietnam, right? So I got to fly with some badass dudes, bro. But when they got selected got pinged to go to Iraq, a lot of those dudes were like, oh, bro, I'm too old for this. I don't want to do that anymore. So a lot of them started retiring out. So the commander at the time, he put it out to all the newer guys that had just gotten back from flight school. There was about 8 to 10 of us around there. He's like, hey, I'm looking for I have 2 slots open to go to the fixed wing course. And the caveat is if you get selected, we're deploying to Iraq next year. So I'm like, okay. So I talked to one of my mentors who was one of the instructors in the Black Hawk. I'm like, hey man, there's this opportunity. What do you think? And he's like, well, for me, he's like, helicopters, Black Hawks was my thing. He's like, not really for me. He's like, but it's a good opportunity if you want to progress your career and fly on the commercial side. So I put in for it. We had to interview, get all dressed up in our dress uniform, give them a resume and everything. And out of the 8 to 10 guys, me and another guy got selected, and then I got sent off back to Alabama again, because Alabama is Army Aviation's like home of Army Aviation, right? Got in, went to the fixed wing course, came back, did my RL progression again, and then I got back in 2008, and then in 2010 we deployed to Iraq, and did 9 months in Iraq.
Wow, so you're a vet.
Yeah. I have multiple deployments. That was just my first one. So yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
So in the commercial world, what are the major differences between a pilot that has experienced war and a pilot that went through trade school?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. So first and foremost, the military pilots, when we go through pilot training, we're already officers. So we're already getting, that's one of the big things, right? We're already officers. So we're getting paid to go through pilot training as officers. And when you're going on the civilian side, you're paying out of pocket to go through pilot training, and it's not cheap. I obviously haven't done that route, but talking with the guys that I fly with now, it's pricey, man. It's definitely pricey. So that's one thing. And then, and I might just be biased because I went through the military, but like the training we go through is pretty intense, and it's it's like, I felt when I came out of pilot training that I was really prepared, right? And then you still have to learn more on top of that, right? Now, and I'm not taking anything away from the guys that did the civilian route, because they learn from flying, like if you become a CFI, right? You're an instructor. So that's how the civilians build time. So they're flying, they don't have a lot of flight hours, so they're minimum low time, and they're flying with somebody brand new who has never flown, right? And like, bro, trying to kill you almost every day, right? It's just not literally, but figuratively, it's just like, they're constantly like having to take the aircraft, kind of do that. And like on the military side, we don't have any of that, right? Because we're flying with senior guys. To be an instructor in the military, you have to be a very senior veteran pilot. Yeah. So it's completely different when it comes to that. So those are 2 big keys for sure. Yeah.
So I want a veteran flying my commercial flight.
No, man. I'll tell you what, man. I fly with a lot of civilian guys, and those guys are sharp, man. Sharp guys. Yeah. To get to this level, to that level, like you have to be on top of it, man.
You're right.
Yeah.
Not throwing any shade on if whatever route you took to get to that point. What is one thing that all pilots have in common?
So the work ethic, I think, is one huge thing, because honestly, man, we're constantly studying. We're constantly going back to the simulator. The work ethic has to be there, and that's a huge thing. And then honestly, pilots we're all kind of nerds, man. Honestly, there's a lot of type A's, but like, bro, we're all kind of nerdy in our own little way, bro. Like everybody's nerds out on weather. Everybody like nerds out on systems, and like, everybody, and it's just part of the game kind of thing. Like you have to learn all this stuff, right? Well, then you learn it, and then you kind of want to get deeper into it. Like, why is it doing this, or why is the weather doing this, or that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's we're all kind of nerds in a certain way. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Well, it's kind of interesting that you say that, because every time I enter an airplane And you know how there's always a line, people are getting sad and whatnot. I always look in the cockpit to see who's flying this plane.
Who's up there, bro? Who's up there? Yeah.
I remember I went in one and like the pilots, like they're texting their loved ones or they're like checking their Instagram and shit. And I'm just like, wow. And then I look at the control panels and the thousands of buttons and instruments and screens and whatnot that you have to be a master of to control this vessel. And then I also realized, we don't ever know who the pilot actually is. We trust in the company that their standards are the highest possible for our safety.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? So like it's always kind of cool. And sometimes the pilots, like they're like standing up and they're like, "What's up, guys?" And that's always a comforting feeling when the pilot has good energy. And whatnot, or they're a little funny on the passengers, you know what I mean? I hear making jokes sometimes. I'm like, okay, it kind of gives you a sense of security.
Yeah. You know that it's not just some robot up there. Just right. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so most airline passengers only see the finished product. A professional pilot in uniform. What did the years of sacrifice, training, and setbacks look like before you ever sat in the cockpit of a commercial airliner?
So going back to my military stuff, right? So I did that first deployment to Iraq. After I came back, we had a little bit of downtime where we got back in 2010. So at that time, when I got back is when I met Rachel, actually. We weren't together on my first deployment. So we met each other after that. And then we started dating, got married, had Andrew, had our oldest. And then, so that was a big thing too. Like family life, it takes a toll on family life. One for sure, because we're gone all the time, right? I live out of a suitcase, man. Like that's just the way it is. So we had Andrew. And then, after that, we were pregnant with BrotherLee and I got deployed again. Right. So then once again, that's the military perspective, not the civilian perspective. So I got deployed again. I went to Afghanistan that time for 9 months as well. While I was gone, I missed Andrew taking his first steps. I was able to come back and barely made it back in time for Brad to be born. But I came back, he was born, and I left a week and a half later back. And when I got back, he was 6 months old already, bro. And I didn't I missed that first 6 months, right? I missed Andrew taking his first steps. So from a military pilot's perspective, that's one of the things to like just sacrificing that kind of stuff. And that's, and not just being in aviation, that's just military in general, right? And then once I got back from Afghanistan, we moved out here to Hawaii. And the Hawaii Guard guys the unit I eventually was going to be in, those guys replaced me in Afghanistan. So I came back and I was sitting around for a whole year because they were deployed, right? So there was nobody, no instructors, no plane for me to fly back here. So I sat around for a long time, and flying is very similar to, well, like anything, right? Like if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So you need to stay sharp on your skills. So while I was waiting around for these guys to come back, I started coming down here to Barber's Point and renting a 172 and just flying around the traffic pattern. I was flying with this young kid, man. I was already, I don't know if I was already in my 30s. I'm flying with this 18-year-old kid, but I didn't have, I had to fly with an instructor. This kid is brand new. He's like, and he's asking me questions, right? So he's like, oh yeah, like, oh, what about this? Because he knows I'd been flying for a long time, right? So, but yeah, staying sharp on the skills was one thing. And then that military life, just being away all the time, that's definitely takes a toll as well. And then after that, when I moved here, I started applying for Hawaiian. I was like, that's where I didn't apply anywhere else, because we moved here and we were going to be here for the rest of our lives. And I was Hawaiian or bust. I didn't want to go anywhere else. I didn't want to be at United. I didn't want to be Delta, American, nothing else. I wanted to be at Hawaiian. So I only applied there. Back then, Hawaiian was hire maybe once a year, and they'd open it for a week and they'd hire like 5 pilots. And they wouldn't even announce it, bro. You had to know somebody. So I would apply and I would, thanks, but no thanks. So just to get in was a process in itself. Yeah. So just that's changed now. Even before the merger, it's changed. So it wasn't as hard to get in, but back then, man, I knew people who interviewed 6 times before they got in, much less I had been applying, hadn't even interviewed yet. So yeah, man, it was, there's a lot of that. This industry is that, like, a lot of, no matter, even if you're really experienced, like, you just have to be the right place, right time, you know? And like recently, there was a huge shortage on pilot hiring. So like people were jumping from legacy airline to legacy airline because they could, which is crazy. I had to apply 7 times, interview once, and got hired on the next one before I could get in. And people were jumping from one major airline to another recently, like because of that pilot shortage. So this industry is very up and down, bro. Very, very up and down. Yeah. So
what's the best part about working for Hawaiian?
One, I love my job. When I get to work, bro, I'm like, I can't believe I get paid good money to do what I do. I love it, bro. I love it. I love everything, every aspect about it. Like, it's so cool to get in that cockpit and just taxi out, even before that, right? Talking with the flight crew, talking with the other pilot, talking with the flight attendants, getting to know everybody, because we're a big company, right? So you don't know everybody, right? But you know how I am, bro. I have a big personality, so I'm always like, oh yeah, hey, I'm Benito. I always go to the back of the jet, even if they're on board, if the flight attendants are on board before, I'll go to the back and introduce myself to everybody. And I've done that since day one.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy, bro. I'm that guy. Yeah. But they appreciate it though.
Yeah. No.
And honestly, the way I look at it from that specific thing is the first time I meet the flight attendant that's working in the back, him or her, shouldn't be when we have an emergency and we're evacuating, and I'm like, that's the first time we see each other, you know? Like, they need to see who's up there flying the plane, and I need to see who's back there taking care of business back there as well, you know? So that's the first part of it. And then once we start boarding, once I get done with everything, I sit there, I leave my window open, right? Because I'm always on the boarding side now that I upgraded to captain. Before I was on the other side, I couldn't see anybody, bro. So now I leave my window open, and I like to see, and I like, people make eye contact, and I'll throw the shakas out there. Every time there's a little kid, I always tell them, I'll wave them on, and I'll tell the flight attendants, hey, there's a little kid, have them come up. I always bring as many kids to the cockpit as possible, man, because you never know. That might influence that next generation to be a pilot. Like that little kid that came up there. Oh, remember that time I was 5 years old and I jumped in the cockpit and that pilot let me sit in his seat, wear his hat, and turn on all the lights for me? Like, yeah, bro. So I try to do that every time. And then, bro, pushing off, taxiing, throwing that power on that plane and launching off the ground. It's nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. I love my job. I love going to work every single day. It's amazing, bro. I love it. I really, really do.
I believe you, man. You know, you did say you don't want to meet the flight attendant for the first time during an emergency.
Right.
I want to talk about emergencies.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
You know, some people have fears of flying. And even if you say you don't have a fear of flying, every time before takeoff, you're like, I hope this goes well. Right? Everybody's kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to talk about bird strikes, lightning strikes, the frequency of those types of things. I know planes are built to withstand lightning strikes in midair, but, you know, maybe, like malfunctioning and whatnot. Like, if you have any experiences with that, I'd love to hear about that.
Absolutely. So I'll start from the beginning. Bird strikes. So I've had my share of bird strikes. Prior to getting on with Hawaiian, in between when I was here, I got on with Ohana by Hawaiian. It was run by Empire Airlines, right? We flew ATRs inter-island. So we weren't Hawaiian employees. We flew for Empire, but we were under under the name Ohana by Hawaiian. So going into Molokai, I've hit at least 4 or 5 different birds coming into land. Like nothing getting ingested into the engines or anything, but like on the windscreen or something. You just come in and land, and honestly, man, we're invading in the birds area, right? Like that's like, yeah. So I've hit birds going into Molokai. On the military side, in Afghanistan, this one kind of freaked me out, man. We were coming back. We had just finished mission, and we were coming back to land at where we were based, right? And we were flying at night, all our lights off, because you don't fly with lights on out there, bro, because, you know, there's always the chance of getting shot at, right? So all lights off. It's in the middle of nowhere, right? Everything's black. You can't see anything. And boom, loud noise. And we're like, oh man, like what was that? We're checking our instruments, everything, like nothing looks bad. And we had operator in the back that he had a FLIR ball, so like a camera. So I'm like telling him, I'm like, hey man, check your camera, make sure we don't have smoke coming out of any of the engines, like see if you can see anything. Nothing. So we're like, I don't know what it was, right? So as we come around the mountain there's lights, and we could see the bird struck right on my windscreen. It was blood and feathers all over the place, man, but it scared the shit out of me.
Because you thought it was ordnance,
yeah,
right?
we didn't know what it was. Thought it was ordnance. So bird strikes are a thing. They happen often. Just recently, rolling down the runway on takeoff out of LA, this big flock came around, and I was like, man, it was right before we took off, right? So I'm like, move, because you never know, like the Sully thing, right? They ingested burns into both engines, and they had to put it in the river, man. So like. It's a thing. It definitely is a thing. If they get sucked into the engine, that engine's quitting like that. Guarantee. Because they will destroy the inside of that engine for sure. So it's definitely a thing. And like a lot of when we go into some places, there's some places that have higher bird activity than others. Oakland's one, LA's another one. But they have it on their hourly weather that we have to listen to. They'll be like, hey, it's higher bird activity or whatever. So yeah, just have to watch out. Like luckily on that one LA roll that they moved out of the way, because if we would have ingested birds, I would probably have had to reject the takeoff, right? And like come to a stop on the runway. And the faster you're going, the higher chance if you have to reject a takeoff, the higher chance of the brakes heating up, catching on fire stuff. So if you're gonna reject a takeoff, it's more advantageous, or it's better if you do it at a slower speed. But you never know, right? You could do it right before this rotation decision speed, and then you just never know. So, but we practice that in the sim. Like we don't practice bird strikes, but we practice all emergencies in the sim. So like we practice rejected takeoffs all the time. We practice engine failures all the time. So we practice all these emergencies all the time in the simulator, where it's a controlled environment, right? The instructor, if something goes wrong, they can stop the sim. Okay, let's talk about it. How can we do this better? Okay, let's try it again, type of thing.
You also recently experienced rejecting a takeoff.
I did. Well, I wasn't flying. I was in the back. I was deadheading out to Maui, and we were on the takeoff roll, and I was sitting in the back, but we were on the takeoff roll, and then all of a sudden, they pulled the power back, and they came to a stop on the runway, and I was sitting in the emergency exit. I had my headphones on, right? But as soon as that happened, I was like, take the headphones out, because you never know, like if we need to egress the airplane or something, right? So but what happened on that one was ATC had taken off an airplane on the left runway. We were taking off on the right runway, and they crossed them right in front. ATC caught it. Apparently, ATC is the one who caught it, and they're like, "Hey, reject your takeoff." So then they stopped. But we had to taxi back to the gate. The maintenance guys had to inspect the tires. And then they had to put more gas, and then there was a whole bunch of other stuff that went on. But yeah, it was that just recently happened to me, and that recently happened to you too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Kens, what happened,
bro? I didn't know it's called a rejected takeoff, but the exact thing happened where you just think, okay, we're starting to gain speed, but then it's that feeling of like, when you're driving with your mom and she hits the brakes a little too hard, and you like lean forward, and she puts her hands out. That's the feeling, but in a plane. And me and Ty just look at each other like, what the fuck?
Right.
And everybody, like 250 something people in there, amazingly were like pretty calm. They were pretty calm, because I think once we stopped, it was like we felt somewhat calm. Because in my head, I'm like, we're gonna roll off right into the ocean.
Right, yeah.
Because we were already going pretty fast. And then so to stop and then be like, okay, that's not normal. And there wasn't any announcement yet. That moment of just unknown, like what's going to happen.
Right.
But eventually, like 3 hours later, they changed it. They had to change the whole tires. The mechanic had to just change everything, apparently. And we just sat there for 3 hours at the gate.
in silence.
In silence.
Yeah, like no,
bro.
no entertainment.
Nothing.
You know,
Can I get a new plane? Is what I wanted.
No Starlink on the inner island. Was it on an inner island flight or no?
No, it was
Vegas.
to Vegas.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
yeah, we had Wi-Fi.
Okay, at least.
Oh, we had
we had Wi-Fi. But bro, that was crazy.
Bro, yeah. Well, and honestly, that doesn't happen often. Like I've been flying for a long time, for 20 years. I've had to reject one takeoff because an animal ran across the runway. So I just rejected the takeoff. We were going slow. Oh, actually, I take that back. I've rejected two. We didn't have airspeed on the. We need airspeed on both the captain and first officer side, and one of them we didn't have airspeed. But that was a slow abort as well. Like we rejected the takeoff. We just we were going less than 70 knots. I think it was super slow. So I just stopped it and then we just taxied back in. No hot brakes or anything, but like anything over, like in my plane, anything over 100 knots, man, those brakes get hot really quick. Cause we put the auto brakes on and we put them on max. So so you don't wind up rolling off into the ocean, right? Or blasting through the fence and hitting the whatever, right? So so anything like those brakes get hot really quick, and we have brake fans, but bro, like they get hot quick, and like when I brief the rejected takeoff, because we brief it every single takeoff. Okay. So I always say like anything over 100 knots, let's have the fire trucks come out and just inspect the tires, because you never know. Because if once one catches on fire, then then you might have to consider evacuating the plane on the, and that's like our last ditch effort. We don't want to everybody has to be safe, but like people get hurt when you evacuate like on the runway down the slides and stuff. And then, bro, I've been seeing lately on social media, there's been a couple of flights that people have had to evac on the thing, and they tell you, like, the flight attendants are trained to tell you, hey, like, leave all your stuff. People are jumping down with their roller bags and they're like delaying pulling their stuff out when everybody should be getting off the plane quick. So like it's really, people should really keep, like, listen and leave your stuff, bro, if it's not worth it, man. Because there's been it was a long time ago, there was an accident, they had to do an evacuation somewhere, like it was like in Russia or something. I don't know exactly where it was, but people were grabbing their stuff, and like 30 people didn't make it out because they didn't evacuate fast enough. And
hot fire.
Yeah, bro.
That is
crazy.
So sad,
crazy,
bro.
Man. Yeah, sad. So to all the listeners out there, if you have to evacuate, pay attention to the flight attendants, and they tell you to leave your stuff. Leave your stuff.
Yeah.
We're two brothers from Hawaii, and this channel is our opportunity to tell stories around the world. If you have a place, a city, an event, or a story that you think we should experience and you can help make the travel possible, there's a connect form in our site linked below. And if it makes sense, we'll reach out. Thanks for watching. Back to the episode.
The mood of this conversation right now is about, tragedy and just the harsh reality of aviation, accidents and whatnot. But I think I've never got to talk to a pilot about this kind of stuff. So I kind of want to continue a little bit more, but then we're going to, lighten it up a little bit in a second. But, can you walk us through what happens mentally when something unexpected occurs at 35,000 feet? Like, what is your thought process during those first few seconds? Okay.
So, the thought process is, like I was telling you, we beat it in training, right? We beat it in the sim. We do it all the time. Mm-hmm. So honestly, the first reaction is, okay, we have something's going on. We get a master caution, a master warning. We reset that. Okay, go to the screen. Okay, it's telling us this is what we have. Okay, and then right away, like our first thing is, okay, do we have any memory items for that thing? Because we have there's specific emergencies that we need to have action done immediately, right? The rest, there's a handful of them, action done immediately. There's some that you can just, take your time, go through. So we look at the screen. Is this something that is a memory item event? If it is, then training kicks in. Every single day before I go fly, I know this probably isn't safe, but I keep in my truck, I keep my flashcards there with my limitations and emergency procedures. And as I'm driving in, I'm like, okay. And I go through them every time I drive into work, every time. So I Because once again, I have 200 people in the back, right, that are relying on me to get them from point A to point B safely. And I take that job very serious, right? So initially, it's not oh shit, like what's going on, right? It's okay, we train for this all the time. Boom, that's what it is. Okay, do we have to do any memory items? If not, then okay, now let's step through it. And then after we step through it and see what, after that's done, then we take a breath and we'll be like, okay, now what? Okay, now let's say we had to do whatever, like today, flying over, like we had one of our communications that we talked to ATC over the ocean. We can talk to them via the computer, right? Well, that went out for a while. So we would have just had to talk to him with voice, which is a pain in the ass. But it's not a big thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not a big emergency or anything. So we pulled out the manual. We went through the screens, pulled out the manual. Okay, this is what we have. All right, well, let's go to the checklist. Okay, well, what can we do to fix this? Okay, well, it said to reset 3 circuit breakers. So we pull it out, make sure my first officer is reading out, okay, these are the circuit breakers. I was like, okay, this is the circuit breaker, this is the circuit breaker, this is the circuit breaker. And he looks back and he confirms. So we're both on the same sheet of music before we start pulling any circuit breaker, flipping any switches. We confirm with each other. So make sure that we're both on the same sheet of music. So pull the circuit breakers, push them back in, and it worked just fine. So we always have, they're not always, but there's flights where we have little things like that. And then there's flights where, like, I've had to shut down an engine in Afghanistan.
Mid-flight?
Yeah, mid-flight.
Why?
We were, I was doing, it's called ISR, Information Surveillance Reconnaissance. So we were basically recon, and we would help out the ground guys whenever they were doing their thing. So we were in Afghanistan, I was based here, and we were observing over here. And in between us was a big mountain range, right? We had been on station for 5 hours, and we were ready. It was time, it was our bingo field. So we were like, okay, that's all the time we can give you guys. Like, we got to go back. So we had to start climbing to get over the mountains. Well, because when we started putting power in to start climbing, because you need more power to climb, right? The engine oil on the number 2 side, the number 2 engine oil started, like, the temperature started rising. And it was still within limits, but we were keeping an eye on it. And then it got into a transient stage. So inside that transient stage, we had 10 minutes to be in that transient stage. If not, we had to shut it down, right? So, but if we shut it down one engine, we're over the mountains. When you're flying on 2 engines, you have a certain ceiling, but when you lose one engine, you drift down to whatever that one engine can hold. So we're looking at it. We come up on our transit time. It was 10 minutes. We were not able to shut it down at the 10 minutes when we should have, because the mountains were there. So we would have drifted down in the mountains, and that's not any place you want to be, even landing in the field out there, bro. You want to make it back, because if not, you're going to be evading and, like, fighting for your life, right?
Yeah.
So we held off. And once again, talking to the controller guy in the back, I was like, hey man, like, I need you to keep the camera forward, because it was once again night. And I need you to, like, just be constantly picking paths of lower terrain in case it does fail on us and we have to go start drifting down. And then after I told him that, then me and the guy I was flying with, I was like, okay, pull out the checklist. We're going to go through step by step without actually doing it. But so we know, so we're practiced when, if it does shut down and the engine flames out, and we know exactly where on the checklist we're going to do and exactly how we're going to identify, verify, and shut that engine down. So we stepped through all that. And we, like, stepped through the whole thing. Our camera guy was doing his thing. And then, luckily it didn't fail on us. But when we got to the other side of the mountains, we should have shut it down like 20 minutes ago already. So when we got to the other side, when we could drift down, we were able to contact ATC. Because out there, it's like you talk to ATC in this little area, this little area, this little area, but it's not like in the continental US where everybody's like talking to ATC all over the place, right? So when we were able to get in with our ATC, we declared an emergency and then we shut it down. And then came in and landed with no issues though. Fire trucks met us there and there was nothing. So they escorted us back to back to our parking spot. And so that's been my biggest emergency.
Yeah.
That one right there. Yeah.
So, in the commercial world, say we're leaving Oahu and we're headed to California, and we're halfway there, and one of the engines go out.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that one engine can take you to the destination. But how precarious of a situation is that, and how far do you have to be to decide if you're going to turn back or not?
So that is all true. And we practice it, and we have charts for that as well. Mm-hmm. So every time we go out to fly, we get a brief from dispatch, and they give us our flight plan. They give us our route, because we don't do that on the commercial side. Their dispatchers do that, right? And then one of the things they do is they give us there's 3 scenarios that they give us, like emergency scenarios. First scenario is you lose an engine and you have to drift down. Second scenario is you lose pressurization and you have to go down to 10,000 feet, which you burn way more gas down there, right? And third scenario is you lose an engine and you lose pressurization. So those are the 3 scenarios they give us. And you would think that the pressurization and the loss of engine is always the worst case. It's not, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that that's not always the worst case scenario. So they give us an equal time point. So it's to fly ETOPS airspace, which is over the water, right? You have to have ETOPS alternate on this side and on this side. So it's usually, not always, but it's usually Maui on the islands and San Francisco. That's like the shortest distance, right? So whatever the flight time is from Maui to San Francisco, there's an equal time point. And that's not necessarily the exact middle, but it's the exact middle time-wise, not distance-wise, right? So if we lose an engine, let's say, like you said, the scenario you gave, and we have to drift down, right? And we are on the island side of the equal time point, we'll turn around and come back to the islands. If we're on the mainland side of it, we'll continue on and go forward, because it doesn't make sense, right? If you're at that equal time point to turn around and go back, if you're already past it, right? You're the shortest distance, right? Now, for me personally, this is just me as a captain, and this is how I kind of learned, because I've had to do a couple air turnbacks. Nothing for, well, we could talk about that in a little bit, but I would have done one air turnback before. But it takes coordination with ATC to get turned around. Yeah, it's not, you can't just whip it around and go, right? Because there's other there's tracks over the ocean. There's other airplanes, different altitudes, right? So it takes a while to coordinate with ATC. So I give myself 50 miles. If I'm 50 miles to the equal time point, let's say I'm going from Honolulu to Vegas or whatever, right? But my alternates are Maui and San Francisco, even though we're not touching those places, right? But that's our equal time point. If I'm 50 miles from that equal time point on this side of the islands, I'm going to probably continue. Not probably, I'm going to continue. Every time I put a 50-mile ring around that, I'm like, at 50 miles, we're going. And the reason being is because it'll take 50 miles, because you're hauling ass, right? It'll take 50 plus miles to coordinate getting the turnaround and then getting turned around. So by that time, you're already going to be past that equal time point. So then you're just going to continue. So yeah.
Well, okay. Dude, the insight, it's like, there's like highways in the sky.
Yeah.
And air traffic controllers, one of our best friends from our adolescence, his name is Jacob Kamakahi. And he's one of the higher ups at the air traffic control tower at H&L.
Okay.
And they don't disclose a whole lot, but he said that there's so much weight on what they do, the communication that they have with the pilots. Because, I mean, literally, you're bringing them in and you're letting them know it's safe. This is what's going on. And you have to recognize emergencies, emergency landings, maybe instrument failure on an airplane and guiding them in. And it's like there's a whole ecosystem up there that we have no idea about. Invisible highways.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And honestly, those ATC guys, man, they have a high stress job. It's one, I think it's been voted for several years. I don't know if it still is, but it's voted as one of the most stressful jobs in the world, because they're responsible for all that, right? Yeah. All the stuff you described. Yeah.
And I guess it's thousands and thousands of people, whereas for you, you're focused on the couple of hundred
right.
that's in there, which, I mean, is heavy for anyone to think about. But I commend you for that. I do have a couple of questions from a CFI, certified flight instructor. His name is Brandon Kobayashi. And I want to see what you have to say. Okay. So what lesson has aviation taught you that has nothing to do with airplanes?
The lesson that I've learned that aviation has taught me that has nothing to do with airplanes is organization, patience, and discipline, bro. And I'll explain each one. So organization, right? You have to be, as I'm sure he knows, if he's a CFI, he knows that he needs to be organized all the time. If he's an instructor, he needs to have a plan to teach his student. That transfers all the way to the airline industry, but that transfers to regular life, bro. If you're like, you need to be like, some people maybe not, but like I like to be organized, right? I'm an organized guy. So I like to be as organized as possible, traveling with the family, doing whatever. I like to be, because I'm the man of the house, right? I'm in charge. I'm taking care of my family, right? Yeah. So I try to be as organized and situational aware as possible. Second thing I said was
organization.
Discipline. Was that
discipline.
Third?
Yeah. Okay. So discipline, yes. Right? So once again, discipline in the aircraft. You have to be professional discipline in the sense that, like I was talking about earlier, you asked, hey, there's an emergency that happens. Okay. Well, I know my training, my discipline, and the amount I study and stuff is a direct reflection of that. If I'm not disciplined with that, then I don't react accordingly, right? On same thing on outside of the cockpit, airplanes and stuff. Like I'm disciplined in the sense of like eating well, working out, that kind of stuff, right? That stuff is important to me, and it's important in this industry in general as well, because you see some of these guys walking around. There's some big boys walking around, man. Yeah. But like to stay physically fit and to eat healthy and stuff, that's the discipline that I'm talking about there. Like to be disciplined in that sense, to be able to continue to do your job, to be healthy for your family. Once again, it all kind of rolls back into that. Yeah. And then the last thing I said was,
shoot, I'm trying to remember too.
I got too deep in these, bro. Deep in them.
Well, your conviction, bro, is just like you know who you are. You know what this does for you and how it translates. When you said discipline, I was thinking when you're flying into different time zones, your sleep schedule's all jacked. You have to stay up for hours and alert and aware. And then when you get to the airport or to the hotel room, there's no place to eat. You got to eat a sandwich or some fast food. You know what I mean? It's to me, that's a tough life. And then away from your kid's graduation, you know what I'm saying? And then you got to do it all over again in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. And you're expected to perform every time. You have to be, everybody walking, you as a passenger, any passenger getting on that airplane expects you to be on your A game every single time. Yeah. Every time. Yeah. So it's interesting, man.
Okay. Second question from Brandon. I've heard it multiple times before. Airline pilots have said that flying a bigger airliner, in some cases, is actually easier than flying a little Cessna 172. LOL. What is your opinion on that?
So flying a Cessna 172 is challenging in the sense that that's when you're first starting out, right? So everything's hard at that point, right? You're just you're holding on to the tail figuratively, right? Holding on to the tail because you can't even talk on the radio. You can't you're still learning, right? And the 172, and they're fun. They're fun to fly, but it's a handful to learn how to fly. Definitely. So by the time you get to the airline industry, you've been doing this for thousands of hours, right? Thousands of hours. So it's not so much that that it's easier to fly. You're just way more experienced. You're not holding on to the tail anymore. You're way more experienced. Your professional career has advanced to that point. And it's just seems easier because you're a better pilot, right? Now that being said, I fly the Airbus 321, right? So the Airbus is very automated. Airbus is very automated. So we are constantly monitoring, but like I don't hand fly all the way across the ocean, man. Like at a certain point, like we're in climb out, I'll climb out to when we're getting ready, not even all the way to level off. And at
Cruise control.
at a certain point, bro, autopilot on, man. Like, cause like you're just not doing anything anymore. Like I'll hand fly it up to a certain point because we're making, like they're giving us turns, we're leveling off, we're speeding up, that kind of stuff, right? But at a certain point, like, okay, we don't have a yoke, we have a side stick, right? But I don't need to be doing it. I'm not really doing anything anymore. So let's just throw the autopilot on, and then I can look back and look at big picture stuff and start going from there, right? So we do monitor a lot as opposed to a small little Cessna, dude. You're hand flying that bad boy the whole time, right? The whole time. So yeah, that's in certain senses, yes, but I think it just comes with experience and time, and just professionalism is really what that comes down to. So
when do you eat? When do you use the bathroom? And is it possible to sleep as a pilot?
So eat. So I try to take my own food with me. I'll take a sandwich or something with me. But we do get served a first class meal. So if I don't bring my own food, I don't have to take the first class meal. So sometimes I'll eat the first class meal. Like on the flight back today, I had the breakfast, right? So the flight attendants will bring us up a menu, and then we just circle on the menu what we're going to eat, and then there's enough food to serve the first class people and then the pilots as well. And that's written in our contract. That's something we have in our contract, right? So I'll eat one meal if now that I'm only doing West Coast, right? When we would do longer flights, when I was on the 330, like to Japan and stuff, there would be 2 meal services. So I'd eat like 1 meal and then maybe have whatever the second meal was. So I've eaten 2 at one point as well. So on the plane, that's usually, if I don't bring food, then I'll eat the first class meal. On layovers, it just depends, man. Like I just came back from San Jose today. Like yesterday, I went out and I got up in the morning. I went and worked out, went to the gym, and then I went and got some Mexican food, and it was awesome. And then just kind of cruised. So it just depends. Yeah. But on layovers, I'll go out and eat. Like I don't bring food for the whole trip, and some people do. But I can't, dude. I can't pack that much stuff, man. Yeah.
And if you have to use a restroom, then you just use the restroom like any a passenger.
So yes and no. If we have to use the restroom, we have to coordinate with the flight attendants because they have to block the door for us. Because after September 11th, the pilots before September 11th would fly with the door open, man, and they just get up and go to the bathroom, come back. It wasn't, maybe not with the door open, I don't know, but I don't remember exactly. But like it wasn't as secure as it is now. So now for us to go to the restroom, I have to call the flight attendants. Hey, can we get a break? And then they'll bring somebody, another flight attendant up, and they'll block the door, and then we'll go out one at a time. But there always has to be 2 people in the cockpit at the same time. So while one pilot goes out, one of the flight attendants comes in and is in there. And then when that pilot comes back, he calls on the phone. He's like, okay, I'm coming back. And now we'll switch. And then after that, then we'll both come in, and then the flight attendant goes out, and then they stop blocking from there. So that's how that works out.
Well, okay, so you brought up September 11th. When I think about the hijackers and what they did that day, what the story is anyway, how skilled did those hijackers have to be to accurately hit both towers? Like, were these trained pilots?
So I don't know all the details. From what I know, or what has been said, is that there was a couple of them who went to Embry-Riddle in Florida or in Arizona, one of those, and they were learning to fly, but they never got to the point where they were landing. They learned how to take off, they learned how to fly the airplane, and they're little planes, but still, like a plane is a plane, right? You turn the yoke left, the plane's gonna go left. You turn the yoke right, the plane's gonna go right. You push forward, it's gonna descend. You pull up, it's gonna climb. So if they had even a little bit of experience, it definitely, obviously they were able to do it. So yeah.
That's wild.
Wild, bro. Wild. That's crazy.
We'll leave that at that. I got a couple more Taisei questions, and then I'm gonna pass the mic to my brother. But this is where my mind is right now when it comes to being a pilot. Because when I was on the flight over from Hilo, and I was looking at the land. Hilo is the youngest island, so you have a lot of very new formations and lava flow formations that dried and a lot of waterfalls, and it's just very different terrain from what you experience here on Oahu. And each island has its own special characteristics.
Yeah,
is what I realized. Like flying over Molokai and Lanai, and I'm like, wow, this island looks like this. Kaho'olawe is so dry. Big Island is lush and huge, right? So I have this question for you. The Bermuda Triangle has fascinated me for decades, but here in Hawaii, we're surrounded by one of the largest and most remote stretches of ocean on Earth. When you're flying over the Pacific at night with nothing but darkness below and stars above, does it ever give you a sense of mystery or make you think about all the stories, disappearances, and unexplained events that have happened over the oceans throughout history?
Absolutely, man. I think because like you said, the Bermuda Triangle, for instance, right? Like, bro, crazy. Like planes would disappear, ships would disappear when they'd go through this area. Like
300 people on board.
Yeah, just magically disappear. Like, what's going on here, right? Like, it's really weird. And yeah, so I definitely have thought about it. I don't think about it every time I'm out there, but like sometimes we'll be just talking over the water, right? Or just talking when we're over the water, and like sometimes that stuff comes up. Like I knew I was coming here, so we actually, let me rewind a little bit. We were on the layover and we were hanging out with some of the flight attendants, and one of them, she's a conspiracy theorist, right? But she doesn't believe in aliens. So I'm like, well, okay. So then we talk. She's a flat earther. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. But just the Bermuda Triangle thing, like it's a crazy thing, but it's a real thing. Like planes disappeared, ships disappeared. Like, yeah. And even still, like even modern stuff like that. There was that Air Malaysia flight that just disappeared. Still haven't found wreckage, bro. Like, what happened to that airplane? Like
black box.
Yeah.
Can they not track it? It just disappeared.
Just disappeared, right? That plane disappeared. Got off a radar, and then they don't know where it wound up. Who knows? Right? And there's theories behind it, but you don't know, man. Like, yeah, it's interesting. And like flying over the ocean at night when it's pitch black, it's beautiful. Just see the stars out there. It's amazing because there's no light pollution whatsoever, right? No light pollution whatsoever.
Or full moons.
Oh yeah. When the moon comes up
above the clouds.
Yeah. It looks awesome, man. It looks awesome. There's nothing like it. I have the best view in the world. Like my office view, best office view in the world. But like seeing all the stars, like when Starlink kind of kicked off, I was flying to LA one time, and because over the water, we're not talking to ATC like I was telling you before, right? But we can talk to other planes. Like there's an internal frequency that everybody talks on to give like reports of turbulence or anything. But on that frequency, everybody's like, hey, you guys see those lights at this position? And I'm like, and we're looking and we're seeing it, dude. And it's like they're moving, and it's not like zipping around like all crazy, but they're moving, and then it would dim out, and then another one would move in a different direction and dim out. And everybody was freaking out about it. I don't know. Now thinking back and just talking with people, I think that was like Starlink. It wasn't like satellites, because I've seen satellites like when I was a kid. My grandpa was all into that, right? But I think it was the Starlink stuff that was kind of moving around there, and just reflecting off the sun maybe or whatever. But yeah.
Well, the government has released a bunch of like UFO files, but I have a hard time like putting my trust in anything that comes out on television,
right,
or mainstream media.
Absolutely,
there's always an agenda, you know what I mean, or narrative that they're pushing. So I don't put all my trust into it. But before it was made public on mainstream media, there was always people that have their own cell phone footage or their own accounts, firsthand accounts of like flashing lights or orbs or flying, and for me, it's fascinating, it's mysterious. And I would love to learn more about it or see more about it, but especially from somebody that's professionally trained in aviation, that's actually up there high above the clouds in pitch black and amongst the stars almost. I feel like asking someone like you that has firsthand experience up there in the sky and the things that you have seen, those lights, I think that it's fascinating, and I could only hope that more information comes out.
Right. Well, and then too, like some of those files, I haven't looked into it at all. I haven't at all, but some of them are from military pilots. Like, so it's, well, dude, I grew up in New Mexico, man. Roswell, New Mexico, that was the first crash site. Like, I don't know how true that is, but but Roswell, New Mexico, that's always been the big thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They even talk about it in Men in Black, bro.
One of my favorite movies of all time. I'm going to close with this pretty heavy question here. After all the places that you've been and all the sunrises you've seen above the clouds and all the miles you've flown, what have you learned about being human?
Ooh, that is a heavy question. I like it. I love it. Just being all the places that I've been and flown all these thousands and thousands of miles and thousands of hours and getting to see the sky like I get to see it, it makes, and then too, like on top of that, like with the telescopes that they have, like the Hubble scope and like stuff like that, I feel small. Like we're just a pinprick. The Earth is a pinprick in the universe, right? Like, so it gives me perspective to be like, okay, like my problems aren't that big. They're not that big. Yeah, they're big to me, but they're like, honestly though, man, like they're little Manini. That's little Manini stuff in the big picture of life, right? Like life's too short. Life's too short. Like life's super short, and to not to be stressed about all kinds of crazy stuff, or to act up or like overreact to things. Like, bro, life's short, man. Live hard, love everybody, like, and just be kind to people. Like, that's what it's all about, I think, in my opinion. And like, cause we are just a tiny little speck. We're a tiny speck on the Earth. The Earth's a tiny speck in the universe. And just being flying around, man, like got to see all kinds of like the sky, just and traveling all over the world, right? Like we're tiny, man. We're nothing, man. So enjoy what we have. Enjoy like getting to live in this beautiful place that we live, bro. We live in paradise, bro. And then when I make my announcement, I always say, hey, enjoy your time in paradise when we're coming in or on the way out. I hope you enjoyed your time in paradise. Every time. That's how I close out my announcements every time. Yeah, because honestly, man, we live in the best place in the world. We really do. There's no, out of all the places I've been all over the world, man. And there's no place like Hawaii. It's crazy. And so.
I love the way you answered that. And that was a Benito that I think just emerged at this point in the podcast. So I have one more heavy question because of the way you answered that.
All right.
So when you're looking down from 35,000 feet, you can't see political parties. You can't see religions, races, or borders. Does that vantage point change how you think about the conflicts that divide humanity?
Ooh. I like the deepness, bro. I like the deepness. Yeah. I need to think about that for a second.
You can't see borders.
Yeah, no,
you can't see
right,
race,
right?
Religion,
right. No, and I agree. And yeah, that's 100% correct. And honestly, there's so much divide in the world, man. Like right now, it's crazy, and not just in the U.S., in the whole world, right? There's so much divide, and but there's always been.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe we're feeling a little bit more here or there, without getting political, without talking about anything like that. Like, yeah, like, bro, we're all human, right? We're all human. Like, there's like, whether I believe in this and you believe in that, or you don't believe in this and I believe in something completely different, bro. Or like, yeah, like you're right. We're all human. We're all human. And like, bro, we just be kind to each other. Like, it's not that hard to be kind, bro. It's not that hard to be kind. And there is huge divide in the world, in our country. Like, you see it every day. And I try to stay away from it as much as possible because you know how I am, man. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. I'm a loving guy, bro. love being around people. I love hanging out with people. None of that shit matters to me, man. Like, I just want to be a kind person to everybody. And that's why I try to teach my boys too, man. Like, just be kind, be respectful, and take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And what it comes down to is we're all just humans, man. It doesn't we're just.
You know what? That kind of raised a thought in my mind that being in a plane is almost like an analogy for unity, because whether you're Christian or Jewish or, Islamic, we're all in the same plane. And the point is to survive until we get to our next destination.
Yeah.
And to be one. Right, because we're all in this together.
Absolutely,
we're all perishable. You know what I mean? Like we would all die if we, possibly.
Yeah.
Hopefully not if you land it right.
Yeah.
If you land it right.
Right. That's what I do, brother.
For a moment in time, we're all one.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we hit the ground, we're divided again.
Yeah. Get
away from me.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit next to you this whole flight, right? But it's an analogy. So I feel like that's why that question came to mind, because it's like you see things from such a high vantage point. You're removed from some of the mental constructs of, this is my community, that's yours. Nationalism. This is my nation, that's your nation. We're again, you know what I mean? All that division that is force fed to us.
Yeah,
division.
And it is.
Yeah, it's a tactic, man.
Oh, for sure.
Keep the people divided so they don't rise together.
Exactly.
But we're just addressing those things here on BrotherLee Time. So anyway, I'm going to pass the mic to my brother. I think this is a good time for him to come in and ask what he wants to ask Benito. Thank you so much, brother,
my pleasure,
for sharing
brother.
that.
Thank you, brother. Happy to be here, man.
This channel exists because we protect creative freedom. That also means we grow slower on purpose. If you're someone who thinks long-term and wants to help fuel what we're building without hijacking it, fill out the connect form on our website listed below. We check every submission, and if it makes sense, we'll reach out. Thanks for watching. Back to the episode. Let's just jump into the second segment, bro. I really enjoy listening to you and my brother talk, especially coming off, I don't know, this year, I've had a number of flights this year. And I have some selfish questions that I'm like, now's my time to ask.
There you go.
Because I've had some experiences, my guy.
Okay.
And I think a lot of us, especially if you're in Hawaii, like airplanes are all we got. We're not navigators. You know what I mean?
Right.
We pay money, we sit down, and we end up at our destination. We don't. It's easy, or let's say that's just the normal way now. But I really like this opportunity, so thank you. And I do want to just start with some yes and no pop culture questions.
All right.
Okay.
Pop culture questions.
Yes and no. Have you seen a UFO?
No.
Or UAP or whatever? No.
No.
Do you, when you're flying, do you take photos and do you bust out your phone and take photos, videos when you're up in the cockpit? Oh, wait. Okay. Let's not get you in any situation you shouldn't be in.
Okay. Yes. I'll answer yes.
Because when you mentioned like you wave and shaka to people out the window, what is today? Wednesday. I got back from Japan on Monday, and the Shinkansen. I don't know. You've been in Japan probably.
Yeah.
Not just the Shinkansen, but a lot of these trains. What do you call them? Not a pilot. What do you call them? The driver,
operator,
conductor. Conductors will like do that. I'll see them like wave and like come out the window. Like open that little window.
Yeah.
And I just recently I was looking at that and I saw the reaction of people waiting. A lot of tourists are in Japan.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these, I think it was just Tokyo or somewhere, big station. And just that little act, like it lightened up the mood of everybody waiting.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a nice little touch right there, dude. Like,
yeah.
So you keep throwing the shocker, bro.
Right on.
Last yes or no question. Is it possible for a flat earther to also be a pilot?
Yes.
How is that possible, dude?
I've known a couple, man. Yeah, I've known a couple.
How is that?
I don't know. Because even the highest we can go on a commercial plane is 41,000, right? Like business jets can go way, way higher than that. But we still don't really see the curvature of the Earth. But I don't know. Like I'm not a flat earther, but
all the instruments, GPS, all of these things are based on the world being a sphere.
Absolutely. I agree.
That's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Okay. So, but you said yes.
Yeah. I've known at least 2 that are flat earthers. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. Well, and like I was saying earlier, I was having a conversation yesterday with one of our flight attendants. She's a flat earther too. But granted, she's not up there, but still, like, she's a flat earther, and like I don't know, man. I don't know. And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If you're a flat earther, that's good on you. But I'm definitely not. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Someone in the comments will let us know.
There you go.
Hey, Benito, can you give us some facts from a pilot's understanding of why the world is a sphere?
Let's crush some dreams.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, well, I've flown like to Europe before, not me personally in the plane, but or me personally flying the plane, but I've been in the back, and we fly over the North Pole, and like, where's the end, right? Yeah. Where's the end? And I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure they've flown around the South Pole as well. And like, you can fly around the world. So how can you go from takeoff out of Honolulu, go east, keep going east, keep going east, keep going east, and wind up back in Honolulu? Like, that's round to me, brother. That's round to me. Just saying. But once again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and maybe they might tell me something that I don't know, but it'd be a hard sell.
We'll keep that one on the back burner for when that flat earther does come through BrotherLee Time. We can dig into that.
There you go. I like it.
This one is a little bit more. This is pop culture as well.
Okay.
I'm more curious about it because I recently found out it's a thing. What's up with these like pilot card collectibles?
Oh,
dude, what, like, do you have your own? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so it's just recently became I shouldn't say recently. In the last few years, I think Delta kicked it off, and Delta was giving out trading cards, right? And so anytime they'd see kids, they'd hand them out, right? And I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a really cool thing. The kids get all excited about it. They and then like, I think Southwest started doing it. Like, other airlines started doing it, and then we started getting asked all the time, right? And Hawaiian they were like, well, we have to like send it through branding and da. So I took it upon myself. I went on Etsy and I made cards for the airplane that I fly so I could hand out to little kids.
Nice.
Yeah. So it has a Hawaiian Airlines plane on it. It has all the facts in the back. And like, I hand those out to little kids all the time. Now, recently, they just, branding came out with them, and now we have them officially.
The official ones.
Yeah, the official ones. But yeah, I've been doing it for the last couple of years, man. And I've been trying, like I was telling Ty, like anytime I can influence that next generation, man, you never know that. Bro. Having those kids come up, handing them a card, like, bro, that's pretty awesome for the kids, right? So it's a new thing, bro, for us anyways.
We are also like aviation family, if you will, because both our parents worked at United. And I think even our dad might have even had some Air Force. Well, he was in Air Force. But we don't know what he did.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like a mystery.
Okay.
But our mom worked at H&L, like not getting on the planes, but all the gate work and stuff like that. So we were no stranger to H&L, like from way back.
Right.
And it's always just been, we lived that non-rev life, and we do all of that,
that non-rev life.
But we always, not always, but very often, we would fly first class because that's where the non-revs could go. Mm-hmm. And so we got a really spoiled upbringing because we just thought we have to wear collar shirts, can't wear can't wear sports shoes.
Right.
There's a dress code, and so we dress up. We oftentimes have business or first. And one thing that they gave us were like these actual figurines of the aircraft, like metal.
Oh,
like today it would just be some cheap plastic, right?
Right.
But they were like metal planes and figurines and stuff. And I remember at that time, it's kind of the McDonald's toy-ish era. So it's like, these are the better than any like McDonald's toys.
Yeah.
Do you still have yours, bro?
I do.
You do? Like,
that's pretty awesome.
I give it to Mia.
Oh, you gave it to me? Okay, that's dope. That's give it to the next generation.
Right.
But that's kind of, I feel like this card thing is a very modern, like hot topic or not hot
version
topic
of that. Yeah.
You know, like
yeah.
right now it's the thing. And so if it's working and and Hawaiian is like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I have a lot of collector friends who are in that. It feels kind of like, and listening to your talk with my brother earlier, it almost feels like pilots are sort of like the newest version of athletes, pro athletes. If we go down that trajectory, right?
Right.
Because it takes performance. Mm-hmm. You cannot mess up. Discipline, all these things that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And now trading cards, it's like...
Right? And honestly, even the trading cards that we just got from the company, you can even sign it. It asks for a signature in the back, so you can sign it and then give it to the kids too, right? Damn. So, yeah.
Oh, we'll get them PSA 10 on them. That's right. Another thing I thought of when I knew we were having you come in today was a 2012 movie called Flight. Denzel Washington.
Denzel. Great movie.
For those of you who don't know, basically he lands a plane in an emergency situation and he successfully lands it, saving all his passengers' lives. But come to find out, he was intoxicated. Alcohol and cocaine, I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so in the investigation that comes to light that it's not his first time and he's a chronic alcoholic. He's been flying drunk, intoxicated.
Yeah.
Great movie.
It is a great movie.
Denzel did his thing.
Of course. Denzel does Denzel things, right? That's it.
What's your take as a pilot watching that?
It was, one, great movie if you just take it as a movie, right? But it's kind of sad in the sense that he was reliant on all that stuff. And then he was doing that stuff. Because once again, like I was saying earlier, man, like I am responsible for everybody's lives on board. Can't be showing up drunk doing that stuff, man. Can't. And they test us all the time, but yeah, like it was a heavy movie, man. That was a heavy movie, but it was good. It was good because I knew it was fiction, but like, bro, you can't be doing that shit. Cannot.
How accurate was it? The movie portrayal, as far as the prosecution, as a pilot watching a movie about a pilot. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you're giving some artistic liberties,
right?
But would you say more or less like, yeah, that's how it would go down?
So I think I've never had to go through any of those investigations, and knock on wood, I hope I never do, right? And I would never put myself in that situation. But so he had a union representative, which is how it would go down. Like if you have even if he wasn't intoxicated, the union is going to be with you, right? Mm-hmm. And then throughout the investigation, there's going to be that union rep with a union attorney there with you, even if like for any situation. Anything. Yeah. And then as far as going down that rabbit hole, if you watched the Sully movie too, it's kind of along those same lines, right? And that's very accurate. Like Sully was involved in that filming, so he was giving his insight and giving them like, okay, this is kind of how it went. And it was, if you notice, like those two, they weren't the same situation, but like the investigation was going the same way. Like they had like that kind of stuff, right? So I would say, based on just those two things and like knowing that the union and the attorneys are going to be there, like I would say it's probably pretty accurate, man. And then I think in the movie, Denzel went to prison, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
The thing is, it was a drama, and Denzel kills dramas.
Of
like
course,
we know that.
That's what he does.
And so we're just like,
bro,
what? The conflict of, but he saved everyone,
right?
But he was intoxicated.
Yeah.
That to me was like beautiful.
Yeah.
The tension was for the whole movie, and I feel like that was a lasting impression on me. It was like he did the right thing, but he had to pay the price for doing it intoxicated, for doing the wrong thing.
For doing the wrong thing, right, exactly. And
I'm like, damn, it makes you, it's one of those movies that make you feel for the main character.
Yeah.
And the main character has to be punished.
Right.
But you're like,
that's when you know it's a good movie though.
Yeah,
bro. That's when you know it's a good movie.
And I was like, well, okay, pilots, at least flight attendants. Because, being from Hawaii, we all know some flight attendants.
Right.
You're throwing rocky, one realtor and one flight attendant. Like that's... Somebody work at a bar, like we, a lot of us know. And flight attendants, oftentimes, if I'm just looking at the Instagram or whatever, they're traveling here and there, restaurants, drinking. And I always thought, like, is that because you're a flight attendant? Because if you're a pilot, you're on the same plane. You're going to the same destinations.
Right.
You might have the same, like, I don't know, you call it layover time or like whatever in that city.
Right.
And like, you go out to dinner in Greece or something, like, you want to drink.
Yeah.
But then I always think of flight.
Right.
I always think, like, there's a high amount of stress, the athlete thing, but then the discipline of, like, in your case, maybe diet, but also the other things you consume when you're out in these amazing destinations.
Right.
What kind of tension, how do you manage that?
So there's a rule with the FAA. There's a rule. So you can't drink 8 hours prior to your flight. 8 hours. And you can't have any residual effects. Now, our new policy with Alaska is now it's 10 hours for us. So 10 hours without drinking prior to your flight, no residual effects. Coming up in the military, it was 12 hours. 12 hours. So I've always been, there is that restriction. There is that restriction. And you just have to be disciplined enough and make the right choices and just do the right thing. Because once again, man, like that's a big burden on my shoulders, on anybody's shoulders who's flying, right? To be responsible for that many lives. And once again, like I said, they are counting on me, no matter if it's 5 a.m, 10 p.m, any time in between that or whatever. The second people step on that airplane, they're expecting me to be on my game, to be sharp and to do the right thing. And that comes with doing the right thing, maturity and doing the right thing. So, yeah.
I don't know how I would feel if I saw a pilot in a bar 8 hours before.
But see, that's the thing. Like, airport culture is a thing. Like, there's bars right by the gates.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's almost an assumption that drinking comes with traveling. I mean, you know, and then you see them come off the plane, and maybe you're in Vegas, and then you see them at the casino or whatever. Yeah, like, wait, didn't I just see you flying a plane? But like, we don't know when their next flight is.
When their next flight is, right.
You know what I mean?
And like, we on layovers, I'll go out and with the crew, and like even so we got in day before yesterday in the evening, and we went downstairs and we had some poo-poos and had a couple of drinks and then hung out and like, yeah. And then after I went to bed, and then the next day I woke up to try and get rid of those demons, and then went and had some dinner, you know. But I definitely I don't think, like what you were saying, I don't think you're gonna just see like a pilot in his uniform at the bar and then 8 hours later just be rolling on in the same uniform with a little bit of stains, you know.
Some grease from the fries. You're right.
Some ketchup, you know.
It's the same thing with like a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, wait, time out. Why you over here drinking?
Right.
Like, at least change your uniform.
Yeah.
At least. But
and we go out. Like on layovers, we go out. Like, and it's fun to go out and hang out with the crew and stuff. You can't just go to your room. There's the people that just go straight to their room. We call them slam kickers, because they slam the door and click the lock, and then you don't see them the rest of the layover, right? So like you know how I am. Like, I'm just I'm a outgoing person. Like, I'm always, hey, let's I'm gonna go out. Like, who wants to go out? Who wants to go out for food tonight? Like, yeah, like, or let's go do something, like da 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 da, right? So like, I try to get people to come out because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. And once again, I'm responsible, and I'll stop when I need to stop, and before then, even just so I have the no residuals, right? Like, I don't want to wake up hungover the next day, because that's terrible. But yeah.
You know, on the topic of expectations and trust, we jumped into this relationship of paying customer and pilot, expectations and trust. But I want to talk about the expectations and trust amongst the industry side people. And one movie that kind of made me think about this was actually Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, great movie.
Great movie. And that one is two main characters. I think it's Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Matt Damon is not even a driver, but Christian Bale is a mechanic.
Yeah.
He's the guy who builds the cars. And I forgot who the driver is, but
Christian Bale drives also.
Oh, he drives.
He works it, and then he winds up driving.
You're right.
Driving the thing. Yeah.
And passes, spoiler alert. But no, sorry. If you didn't watch it, sorry. I mean, it's been out for like 7 years or something.
If you haven't watched it by now, you're not going to see it.
But it made me think of, Christian Bale, he does drive too. but he's the mechanic. So he's the one who's like driving and he's like, I got to make this one minute change that no one else knows except me. And so it's like, all right, you're a pilot, which if we talk race cars, the driver,
right?
The operator. You're the operator. How is the relationship with the mechanics? With, for example, on our rejected takeoff, the pilots had to let the mechanics change out the tires, whatever damage, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like, describe this relationship and the trust and expectations that you guys have on your side of things.
Okay, so 9.5 times out of 10 times, I won't even see the mechanic. Won't even see them because a plane comes in, they come in, the mechanics come in, they do their thing, and then they sign off the book. They sign off the logbook. Every airplane has a logbook, right? And it's a maintenance logbook. So if the inbound flight had any mechanical issues, right, or any issues whatsoever, like mechanical specifically, that the maintenance guys handle, we write it in the logbook, and then when the plane comes in, the mechanics look at the logbook and they address the issues. But not only do they just address those issues, but they have to do inspection before the plane goes out. There's weekly inspections that have to be done, monthly inspections that have to be done, and they have to keep a record of all this stuff, right? So we put our trust in them because, like I said, I don't see these guys or guys and girls ever. Like, not ever, but like rarely.
You guys aren't drinking on the layovers.
No, don't see these guys, right? Yeah. So I don't even know very many or any of our mechanics, honestly. So I'm putting all my trust in them, right? I'm putting all my trust in them, and I am expecting them to be professional and do their job correctly in the right way, as the passengers are for me, right? It's the same thing. It kind of trickles down, right?
Yeah.
And then when I do see them, that half time, that half out of the 10, right, is when we have a maintenance issue at the gate prior to pushing back, right? I have to call them up. I mean, like, hey, we have this issue. Can you guys send a mechanic out? So the mechanic comes out. We talk about it. I had already written it up in the book, and then they'll address it, and then they'll make the corrective action if able, and then if not, then they can. There's certain things they can defer till later. There's certain things that they can't. So they can defer things. Certain issues for a later time, especially like on outstations, like if we're in San Jose, like I just was, right? Like they don't have a big maintenance hub there. So they would, if I saw something in that on the flight before the flight, they would probably, if they can't fix it right there, they defer it as long as we didn't need it for the flight. They defer it to when we come back to the islands where they can address it and take care of business. So yeah, there's a lot of trust involved in it. But once again, it's kind of the way the industry is, right? It's kind of crazy, man. Like, because on the military side, we knew all our mechanics, right? And like, so yeah, like you know these guys. So, but like on the commercial side, you just trust.
I mean, I think that highlights a couple of things. One, like the amount of trust that we have in the system, in these people we don't know. Like the passenger trusts the pilot trusts the mechanic trusts air traffic control. Like there's all this weird invisible trust chain.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact that it's running properly and smoothly in this manner is amazing.
It is amazing.
It's amazing.
It really is.
But it also makes me think of like farmers who cook. Like if you do one, you might as well do the other one. You know, like it kind of naturally lends itself. You can just stay a cook or chef, and you can just stay a farmer. But oftentimes in the real life, like people are doing a little bit of both.
Right.
I ever wonder, like, as a pilot, do you ever want to like tinker with your own Cessna one day, or like you want? No.
Me personally, absolutely not, man. I am mechanically. Yeah, no. I'm not good.
Okay.
We'll just go with that.
Okay.
I don't have a mechanical bone in my body, man. Like I could not. But some people are great at that stuff, but definitely not me, man.
That's definitely why the Ford Ferrari thing. Yeah. The Christian Bale character, the guy he plays. Yeah. He's the guy who I'm doing both. I'm building it. I'm driving. I'm building it. I'm driving.
Absolutely.
And I was like, damn, I wonder if pilots. I guess you know though. You're not going to be.
No, I know for a fact that I wouldn't even put myself in that situation because I wouldn't trust myself to do it and then go fly the plane, right? So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are some pilots that do it though. There are some pilots that do it. They have their small little planes and they work on it themselves. And pretty awesome though. It's awesome to be able to do that. I'm just not that guy.
I'm thinking of like those. Maybe it's just like movies.
No, I love it.
Interstellar, like crop duster pilot. Like you're a farmer, but you also gotta tune up your own plane and then fly it and dust your own crops.
Right,
I'm like, damn, that's different.
Some skill. Yeah, for sure.
So there was this news article / story, 2018 August. Richard Russell, Pierce County, Washington. This guy hijacked. He stole a plane. I think he worked at the airfield or something, and he took the last joyride.
I remember that. Yeah.
I've heard it on many different channels and YouTube channels and stuff. People kind of reference it's well known.
Yeah,
it's a well-known case.
It is. I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Could you sort of walk us through what happened and ultimately, like, why do you think someone literally their death wish, could you call it, was to fly? What was it? What is it about flying?
That was a pretty heavy situation that went down. Like, luckily, just to start off, luckily that when he crashed, he didn't crash and kill like into a city or into a school or something and kill a bunch of people, right? But like that was pretty heavy, man. Like, and for him to be able to get in the plane, because I don't remember exactly what his job was at the airport. I know he worked at the airport, but I don't know exactly what his position was. But for him to get in, to be able to start it, and then to be able to taxi out and take off, that in itself is pretty impressive. Because it's not like an easy thing to do. There's a checklist and you have to do things in order and you have to get it started. And then you have to know, like, there's a process to get that thing started and to get it moving and to get it so for him to actually get it off the ground, to get it started and to get it off the ground is incredible. Unless he had prior flying experience, or like he had done like his private pilot license or anything like that. I don't know. Because if he did, then that makes a little more sense, right? But I don't think he did. And the reason I don't think he did is because like he was talking to ATC, but he was just like talking like how we're talking, right?
Yeah.
And as a pilot, we don't talk to ATC like we're talking right now. So he was just kind of having a conversation with them, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to try this. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then even when he did his his loop, he almost hit the ground, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I thought that was going to be it, man. And then they're like, well, you should come back around. Because he thought that he came close to the ground on that one. Yeah. But I don't know, like to commit suicide like that. And I don't know I can't remember what his backstory was. But to commit suicide like that is that's pretty heavy, man. Like just in general to commit suicide, but people do it in crazy ways, right?
He was up there for over an hour.
Yeah, just flying around, just doing all kinds of crazy. And those planes that he took up there, that's not an aerobatic plane, bro. He's not doing that's not a plane you do loops and rolls and stuff like it. But he was doing it, which is crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah, but I don't know, like even about flying, like, I don't know, man, like for him to end his life that way is tragic and it's sad, but like, I don't know. It's because people do it like in so many different ways, right? And just in general, just to take your own life is kind of, and like to get to that point is that's pretty heavy, man. It's
one of those stories that when I first heard it, like, I didn't know, I think I watch a lot of YouTube where like they're kind of true crime / back in 19, whatever. And I'm like, what happened? And so I didn't know the ending.
Oh.
And up until the ending, I'm like, this is awesome. Like this guy, I'm just thinking like he's going to be in prison, whatever. But then the ending is the ending. And up until that point where I knew that was he was going to die. I thought it was the best, like, bandit / sort of expression of free will, you know what I mean? Like he knew he was going to prison, but then you kind of, after you know what happened, it really sinks in.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, dude, like even because the way I was listening to it, it might have been a Mr. Ballin story on Mr. Ballin. I love that channel. But he's sort of narrating the conversation between, wasn't it Richard and air traffic control. And it was super bro-ish, right? And later on, when I figured out like when we know that he died,
Right.
I was listening back, like those air traffic controllers didn't go into work today thinking they had to be negotiators.
Right.
But then all of a sudden they're like, shit, now we're negotiators?
Right.
This is like, HP or whatever police.
Yeah.
They have those trained negotiators.
Right.
But now air traffic control is like, I got to negotiate. Because the way they're talking with him is like de-escalate. Whoa, you almost just crashed. Let's bring you in, buddy. Let's bring you in.
Yeah.
You know, how much gas you got? How much? I was like, those air traffic controllers too must have went through some crazy debriefs and traffic and
for sure.
Not even mentioning the family, like
for sure. And I think like we were talking earlier about like air traffic control it's a very stressful job, but then you just add that aspect into it too. Like, bro, that's crazy. And then they're gonna have that like. They were working when that happened, right? So that's gonna, even though they weren't responsible, like they're just gonna weigh heavy on their conscience, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then but when they're de-escalating like that, like that's just taking it into that human factor, right? Like, bro, like I don't want you to do this. Like, come on, like I'm sure you're a good guy. Like just taking everything out of it and just going straight to like hey man, like it's not worth it. Like you can do this. Like it's okay. Like da 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 da. Like just approaching it, and which I'm assuming they did, just approaching it from that human perspective. I think they probably didn't have any training on that, but they just approached it from that human perspective and just like, and
I'll tell you what, those whoever those people were in that tower that day definitely wrote some kind of manual after, or at least were part of creating something that other air traffic controllers could use. Because man, that also made me think of today it's 2026 while we're recording this. SpaceX just went public, self-automation. My friend has a Tesla and I was a passenger in it, but I felt like the driver was a passenger too, because it's pretty amazing. I don't know have you experienced like a Tesla? Like
I haven't.
You have one?
No, I don't have one. No.
But I feel like, isn't autopilot for airplanes, is that going to happen where how we experience driving today in a Tesla where you put in a destination, boop,
and it does its
and
thing.
then I'm just playing chess on my phone or whatever, like, and I land there. Is that coming towards aviation as well?
So yes, it is coming. And I know for a fact it's coming because Airbus is actually trying to do that right now. And I fly Airbuses, but they're trying to, not so much the no pilot in there, but they already have pilotless aircraft. They have drones, right? Drones, the military uses drones all the time, right?
Yeah.
And like other people, they can do drones and they can they have little drones, but like the military uses drones. But Airbus was designing airplane to be flown single pilot, which is crazy in my thought process, right? So one, like we were talking earlier, I have to go to the restroom. Who's going to be up there monitoring thing? Okay. So specifically Airbus was doing the prototype on an Airbus 350. Soon after they announced that, there was an Airbus 350. I don't know what airline it was, but they took off. The captain had a heart attack on takeoff and died. And the first officer had to come back around, talk to ATC, come back around and land the plane. Landed safely. Everybody was like all the passengers were, but the captain passed away. So now you fast forward, you put one pilot in there, automated everything, and the pilot dies. Now what? The computer's not going to know that the pilot died or to turn around and come back around, right? You take that human factor out, and it's gonna. I don't know if I'll see it in my career, but I'm not saying that we won't see it in our lifetime. And they're
Yeah.
pushing it now for just the single pilot specifically for cargo. They're pushing it big for cargo pilots.
Less risk.
I guess.
Property versus life.
Yeah, right. But still, like something happens and there's a malfunction or something. Like you take that human factor out of it, and now like the decision making goes away. Right? It's a computer. It's gonna do something, but like there might be something that I know from experience that if I do this, even though that's what it says to do, maybe that's not the right thing to do. Like the Sully thing, for instance.
Yeah.
They had a dual engine failure. Nobody's ever had that before. He knew to turn on the APU just from experience, right? So they had power at least, and he could talk. Because if not, they lost both engines, and there's generators on those engines, right? And that's what's powering the airplane. Lost both of them. Lost both generators. He turned on the APU just because he knew the systems. He knew everything was supposed to be right, how it was supposed to be, and that human factor, I think, is really, really, really important. Because, bro, a computer is a computer, and like, you know how computers are, man.
I use them all the
computers can
time.
get hacked, bro. All that stuff, right? Like, so yeah, it's kind of crazy that they're pushing it, and we're actually kind of reversing a little, not reversing, but we're going through contract negotiations right now because of the merger, right? And one of the things we're really pushing for is in our contract to have no less than 2 pilots in the cockpit. And I think United has that in theirs. I think United does, but like it's important, man. It really, really is important because you never know. You never know.
You know, that's the thing, is the double-sided sword, if you will, of like humans. Because with Sully, I know to get power from here, but then you also have, I'm going to take this thing out for a joyride. And that's why I thought of this, is because imagine that air traffic control could have been like, man, take control and just control the airplane, bring it back. Boom, now you're in jail. Right?
Yeah. So there was just an airplane that landed itself because the pilot was incapacitated. It was a King Air. It was about a month and a half ago, maybe. Pilot became incapacitated, and the plane, I guess in that specific scenario, they had to like do specific inputs every so often, and the pilot didn't do it. The plane took over, came around, and landed by itself.
Wait, from the air?
From the air, and went down and landed. So, like, the Airbus that I fly now, we have auto land in that plane, and we don't ever use it. We use it, well, I shouldn't say ever. We use it, but we use it when the weather is really, really, really bad. Like to the point where we can't see because we have to see to land, right? So if the visibility is below a certain threshold, if the ceiling's below a certain threshold, we can't see to land. So we have auto land. And I've had to do it before. It's nerve-wracking, bro. I'll tell you that right now. To sit back and let the plane land by itself, it's just like the pucker factor just a little bit, like squeeze a little bit. Yeah. Dude. So I've done it. Most recently, I did it in February, maybe. We were going into Salt Lake City, and the visibility was like almost 0-0. And so we came in, did an auto land, nice and easy, and did its thing. And yeah, I've had to do a couple of them. So yeah.
Dang.
So the airplanes are capable. Like we had to set it up to do its thing, but like they're capable. But like that King Air specifically, I think it might be Garmin. I don't want to specify. I don't want to be throwing out shout outs to Garmin because I don't have any stock in them. But I think it was a Garmin that was in that plane, and that's one of the systems that they have is that that they just created. That's a thing, and like it sensed that he didn't make the input that he needed, and it came back around and landed. Wow. And yeah.
Hey, so Benito, you talked about autopilot landing or auto landing.
Auto land, yeah.
But you know, I did see a YouTube video one time that said the top 10 hardest airports to land in. What was the hardest landing you've ever experienced?
The hardest, like firmest landing, or the hardest, like most challenging?
Most difficult.
OGG.
OGG is a challenge, bro. It really
that
is.
Crosswind, huh?
Yeah, crosswind. It's always gusty, man. Always gusty. And OGG is a challenging airport for sure. Going into Aspen, Colorado, because it sits in a bowl, and it's just turbulent as all get out and swirly winds in there too. That was a challenge. And then when I had to shut down that engine that I was telling you guys earlier, shut down that engine, landing single engine, we practiced it, but I was so in the zone, bro. Because, landing with one engine, like so in the zone. It's probably one of my best landings, bro. Came in and greased it on. I'm like, bro. But I think it was just because I was so like heightened alert. Like everything was just firing, right? Adrenaline was through the roof. Like, yeah. But OGG is a challenge, bro. OGG is a challenge. Landing in the islands is rough, man. It's because it's the trades. The trades are gusty all the time, right? So landing with the trades, it's challenging into here for sure. For sure. OGG is a challenge for sure.
Just a couple more on this aviation stuff before I jump into like the human part, because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I gotta take this opportunity.
Get it, bro. Absolutely.
One time when we were leaving April Hilo Mary Monarch on our last day, which was a Friday or Saturday, I forgot. I think it was Friday. Boom, Kilauea starts to erupt, and we can see the cloud from where we are, like in Hilo.
Yeah.
And my friend from Hilo was like, "Hey, what time is your flight? Because sometimes you gotta cancel because of the whatever crystals things in the air."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Damn!" Luckily, it didn't. I think a flight after us did cancel. But what are the reasons, or I say, what do you think is like best practice for a passenger like myself, like a everyday passenger, to prepare for? Like we hear international flight, be there 3 hours early. We hear these kind of like travel tips, if you will.
Yeah.
But like what are some other ones that maybe aren't so known? Like be prepared for this, that, carry this, that. Like, do you have any of those?
Sure. I absolutely do. So like we were talking about the evacuation scenario, right? Like if you have to evacuate, you're not supposed to be grabbing your bags out from an overhead bin. So one thing I always try to do, like if I'll keep my passport on me, my phone on me. So if I have to evacuate, I'm not going to be grabbing phones and stuff, right? Or like wallets and stuff. Like I know it's kind of a pain, but like if you do like a sling bag, or that's kind of a thing right now, like throwing it in, like keep my passport in my sling bag on me, or like right there, right next to me, so I could just grab it and go. So that's one, I think there's a big one, because, and like having a small coat like around you too, like that's something too for in the case, and just thinking from the perspective of like an emergency, like we were kind of talking about earlier for the evacuation, right? So having a coat, because you never know if you have to evacuate and it starts raining or it's cold. You have your passport with you. You have your phone with you. That you need to call loved ones, let them know that you're okay, like da-da-da-da, right? So those are, like having those easily accessible and not in your carry-on, that's a big one for sure. Something that I like to do when I'm flying, and I should do better as a passenger, but when I'm actually working, I drink a lot of water. They give us a big, huge bottle of water for every flight. And I try to drink that whole thing from takeoff to landing. I try to finish that. So drinking a lot of water, because the airplanes are dry. It's like we're cruising at 35,000 feet, but the cabin is at like almost 7,000 feet, 6,000 feet, 7,000 feet there. So it's very high, but it's very dry in there too. So like I'm constantly putting chapstick on. I do eye drops, lotion. I never put so much lotion on in my life till I started this job, bro. But the hydration thing is the big thing. Like staying hydrated is a big thing. And I get up to take a break every hour. Even if I don't have to use the restroom, I'll get up, I'll call every hour just to get up out of the seat, stretch my legs a little bit, stand up for a little bit. So that's a big one, I think. Because hydration and getting out of the seat. Yeah, and movement. Because, bro, sometimes I sit there and as a passenger, and just sit there and I won't, like when they come back around and they give the little, here's a cup of water. Yeah. Twice a flight, bro. That's not enough, man. That's not enough. But, and then I won't get up, and then I'll get off the plane and my legs are all swollen, bro. I don't get that when I'm flying, but I'm hydrated. I get up every hour, like, and it makes sense, right? And granted, our pilot seats are way bigger than the little crammed in there like sardines in the back, but still, like, yeah, I think that's a big one is hydration and movement. Like if you get up and move every hour, like that's a solid, should be good. That's a good one for sure.
Okay, last personal one for me then.
All right.
I'm in Sydney.
Okay.
Sydney to H&L. That's like 10-ish hours. I got my 2 girls in tow, 9-year-old, 7-year-old. Thing is, we spent the last night in the ER with my oldest in Melbourne.
Okay.
So we were in Melbourne, actually. ER, allergic reaction. We had to take her to the ER to give her the EpiPen, basically. Yeah. Monitored overnight. And the whole time I'm thinking, we got to fly tomorrow. Get up. They discharge us, give us, pharmacies, whatever, get 2 EpiPens at the pharmacy. And I'm like, am I about to get on this plane right after this treatment? I asked at the ER, I was like, this is a situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you think? And they're like, make sure you have those EpiPens. And they gave me the whole protocol.
Okay.
If shit goes down.
Yeah.
But me, I'm like, y'all are like medical professionals.
Right.
I'm just dad. And I got another one. So there's 2. And so we go to first domestic flight from Melbourne to Sydney. It's an hour or whatever. I'm like, okay, we made it. But I'm like, I know the 10-hour flight's coming up.
Right.
And so in that transfer at Sydney, she starts coughing a little, exhibiting similar symptoms to what she did before we went to the ER, almost like 24 hours earlier. And I'm just in my head like thinking, fuck, we're in Sydney.
Right.
Like there's nothing here for me. Our friends and stuff are in Melbourne.
Right.
So I'm like, am I going to have to scramble for a place to stay or am I going to get on this plane? And I was like, where's the staff? The gate staff aren't even like Qantas staff. You know how that goes? At the airport, like people checking my bags. There's not even that.
Right.
Just some hired guns, basically.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, shit. Okay, well, I have the EpiPen on me, like the passport. I have the EpiPen on me. I got the antihistamines. I got everything. I'm just like, what's going to happen if we have this emergency on the plane? And so I did what any person our age today would do is I bust out ChatGPT. You know what I'm saying? And I start self-diagnosing and shit. You know? And I'm going hard because I'm like, they're going to start boarding pretty soon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm either going to just bail and go to like an airport. I know airports have medical staff.
Yeah, they do.
But I end up, I'm like, ChatGPT is like giving me the same rundown that the ER staff did.
Okay.
And they're like, you can do it. But as soon as you get on, you talk to the flight attendants. Right away, you let them know the situation.
Right.
And so that's what I did. As soon as I got on, I went to the back. I said, hey, here's a situation. We might have a medical situation. I told them about the ER visit. I told them I have the EpiPen. I told them where we're at.
Yeah.
And they're like, they were so calm. That kind of made me calm because they're like, you want us? We have EpiPens too. You know, and like we all know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, like they weren't panicking the way I was.
Right.
So that helped me. I kind of matched their energy. I'm like, oh, you guys are used to this. And then they're like, yeah, this is so-and-so. She'll be the one that's like on your aisle or your side of the plane. We'll monitor. There's already no food allergy stuff. So we got that taken care of. And all I'm saying is like the way that those flight attendants reacted to this kind of like unsure panic dad thinking, oh shit, are we going to turn around the plane for me?
Right.
For us? You know what I mean? Because I was ready to just be like, be that guy. Like, we got to turn this motherfucker around.
Right. Yeah.
I was thinking like looking at her thigh, like where I'm going to have to do it. Like,
yeah.
So I was super paranoid and unsure. And I was like, should I even have gotten on? But then those flight attendants helped bring me down. And every time she passed, she would check on me, check on her. And it made me, I was like, oh, fuck. I thought about, I didn't know the term until today, but what'd you say? The middle.
The middle time point? Equal time point, yeah.
I was doing my own version in my head, looking at the map, like Fiji, are we going to stop? Are we going to end up in an ER in Fiji? I'm looking at all these things.
Right.
I feel more informed now talking to you and going through this, but I just want to say, man, like you guys are, how common is the medical emergency and like, how do you deal with the dad like me in that situation or the family member who's traveling?
Right. So the medical emergencies, they happen. They happen. I wouldn't say regularly, but they happen every so often, right? They do. I've been on flights as a passenger and them call, hey, is there any medical personnel on board? And like we were saying earlier, like my wife's a doctor, right? So like she's gotten up to go help. So they'll always make that announcement. Hey, is there medical personnel? The flight attendants, like how we train in the sim and stuff, they train once a year as well. They go back through training and they train on all that stuff, right? So they're proficient in it. They're proficient in what they do. And they have that calm demeanor, right? Because they deal with the people all the time. So what they did was they brought the energy down, and you match their energy, which is what they're trained to do. I've never gone through their training, but I would imagine that's what they're trained to do, right? So, and then when we have a medical emergency, first and foremost, the flight attendants try and deal with it firsthand, and then they call for medical assistance. If there's a doctor, a nurse on board. No chiropractors, not bagging on chiropractors, but we don't need any we don't need adjustments, bro. They'll call a nurse, doctor, if there are any, and they'll assist, right? And then if they can, once they get things stabilized, then we have so they'll call or we'll call. There's a thing called MedLink. And MedLink, I think I've even seen like a video on it or something like on YouTube or whatever. But MedLink there's a doctor on call on the radio. So we'll call MedLink and we'll be like, hey, okay, this is a situation. This is our flight number. We're going from this destination to this destination. There's a passenger in this seat because they have our manifest, everything. It's a female, 15, this is what their symptoms are or whatever, right? And then they'll ask questions. So then, okay, we'll stand by, we'll talk to the flight attendants, or if they're calling them, then they go get the information, and then they'll come back and then we'll have that conversation with the doctor on the radio, right? And then at a certain point, they'll give recommendations. So we have these kits on the plane, like where their EpiPens are, right? They're in these kits, right? These kits on the plane, and they'll know exactly what's in the kit and what pocket it's in. So they'll tell, okay, go into the PRK kit or whatever it's called, right? Go into that kit in the blue zipper. Go into the blue zipper. There's this, and this. Have them take this, have them take that, or give them oxygen, stuff like that, right? So they tell us exactly what to do and then continue to monitor. Or if it's bad, they'll be like, okay, they can tell us to divert, and then so we just have to coordinate with dispatch at that point. And we're like, hey, per MedLink, we're diverting for a passenger, and then the dispatch will coordinate with getting us into that airport wherever we need to go, right? So it's a lot of coordination, and it's a lot of playing like remember when we were kids, like playing the Tell a Secret and then pick it down. What's that? Is that
telephone game.
The telephone game. Yeah. So there's not a lot of that telephone game because like if I have to call them, the flight attendants will write everything down, and then I'll keep them in the cockpit while I'm talking to them. And if the MedLink person, and I'll keep turning them on speaker so they can hear, right? Yeah. If the MedLink person has questions, I can have them answer, and if they don't know, I'll tell them, okay, we'll find that information out and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So yeah, so the flight attendants are trained, they ask for medical personnel, and we talk to a doctor on board, and they have the ability to tell us to divert if they feel like it's necessary. So, yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I experienced it firsthand.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of anxiety, unsure, like fear and stuff. So hopefully other people listening can get to that place that I was after, where it's like they're professionals, they have a kit, they got MedLink or whatever. Like,
MedLink. Yeah.
It was an anaphylactic shock for us, an allergic reaction. So ChatGPT 2 was like, it could happen again. You know what I mean?
Right,
like you still don't know this. We didn't know the source.
Right.
So that was like, why was this something on her clothes? Is it going to happen again? So that's why I was just I don't know what the hell is going on.
Right. Well, I'm glad it worked out, and I'm glad she was okay. Bro,
shout out to Qantas staff for helping in that situation.
Shout out to Qantas.
Let's get into some Benito stuff.
All right.
Some human stuff. and sort of give the plane talk a break for a little bit. How many countries have you been to? Can we just ballpark?
Oh, I was looking at it the other day. I want to say it was like 25.
25-ish.
Yeah.
Okay, so in all these countries you've been to, and all the experiences you've had, how has your view of love changed through all of this travel?
Of love. Oh, that's a great question. So I think being military, right? So one thing, I've been to countries where I've been to war, right? To two different countries. I've been to countries where I love going to visit these places that are amazing. But one thing, love for my country is like I'm a very patriotic person, man. I love the country that we live in. I really do, and I went to fight for that country, right? To keep the freedoms that we have, even though there's all kinds of craziness going on. I still love it. I love our country more than anything. Love for travel. I like to go to these places and experience these different cultures is amazing, man. To immerse yourself into what their culture is doing, like the food, the people, the way they approach life, and is different than the way we do in a lot of places, right? Majority of places. Yeah. So that's a big thing too, just for the love of travel, and then love of eating, bro. That's my favorite part of traveling, bro. I love eating. I could easily be 400 pounds right now, man. as wide as I am tall, and I'm not tall, so that wouldn't be. But yeah. So, and then appreciation too for where we live, like to live here, bro. Like I was saying earlier, man, there's nothing like Hawaii. There's nothing like it. Before I moved here, every time I'd go to places, I was like, oh man, I could live here. I could live here. Like, oh, maybe I'll think about moving here. Since I've lived here for 12 years. I've never said that a single time since living here, because I love it here, and wow. So yeah, man, that's some love right there for sure.
Couple follow-up questions on this, because one is, I could totally see you put you anywhere in the world right now at some restaurant or some noodle shop, whatever. I could see you striking up a conversation and having the language barrier mean nothing.
Yeah.
Oh. Like because you bring that, like that guy you want to see at some random noodle shop in Thailand or whatever. Like that's you.
Yeah.
How is your language? Like, you speak English and anything else?
Bro, let me tell you a joke real quick, right?
Okay.
So here's a joke. A flight attendant told me this one. She's like, okay, what do you call a person that speaks 3 languages? Trilingual, right? 2 languages, bilingual. What do you call a person that speaks 1 language? American. Bro, that's so bad. It's so bad, but it's true, bro. It's so bad, but it's true. So growing up, I grew up in northern New Mexico. Like, my name is Benito Pacheco, right? My middle name's Toribio, bro. Hardcore Spanish name, right? My brother's Miguel Antonio. And then my sister, who's in the middle of us, Jennifer Louise. Bro, what? What happened here? And she's in the middle, right? Both my parents speak fluent Spanish. My grandma, who lived next door, she would always talk to me in Spanish, but I was like, Grandma, I don't understand. Like, bro, I failed in learning Spanish because I was around it. And I didn't learn it.
Took it for granted a little.
Yeah. And I didn't learn it. So the best I had gotten at Spanish was one summer I worked construction, and I just worked with a bunch of Mexican guys, man. And that's just, they didn't speak a lick of English. So like, bro, and just BSing with those boys. But like you said, just the language barrier was whatever, man. And we just kind of made it work. Yeah.
There's body language too.
Yeah.
There's habits, there's gestures, there's all these other ways of communicating, smiling, your face. Like, yeah. So I'm like, you good anywhere, bro. You good anywhere.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that.
The other follow-up I had was the love piece as far as your partner. Like, traveling that many countries, you see, every one of those countries has their own wedding ceremony, for example. It has their own way of like proposing or showing love. Like, some countries don't even have Valentine's Day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we have very cultural specific ways of showing love. So I'm wondering, as far as a romantic part, marriage part, that partnership, how has traveling sort of informed your definition of that love between a partner?
Okay. So let me start with saying this. Those countries that don't have Valentine's Day, I appreciate that. I wish the U.S. would embrace that.
One less.
I joke. But like, so her and I, because you guys travel, right?
Yeah.
You guys travel. So you know how it is. Like if you're with somebody and they don't travel well or whatever, like it's kind of, if you love traveling and the person you're with doesn't like to travel, it just doesn't, it's not going to work, man. Like, oh, no, it could work because like, but like, yeah. So, one, like her and I both love to travel, like, and we love to travel, and we've traveled since we were like dating still, right? And like, we've always talked about it since the first day we met, that was one of the first things we were talking about. Like, oh, I like to travel. Oh, I like to travel too. And then when I started traveling with her, it was like, hey, I actually like traveling with you. And cause I've traveled with people who are just like, and then, so to just have that shared experience together is pretty amazing, right? To get to go all over the world, and go to these places. And then I travel for work, right? So, the love portion of that is like, I miss her I land, before I take off, I'm like, hey, okay, we're getting ready to close up. I love you. I'll get a hold of you when we get to, when I land. So I'll let you know when we land. So I text her, I say, I landed safely wherever I am at. Right. And then when I get to my room, I call her every time. First thing I do, I'm still wearing my uniform. I throw my headphones in and I'll be getting changing, but I'll call her and we'll talk for a little while. And then, yeah. And then before I go to bed, when we're apart, I'll always call her and tell her good night. I love you. And then, in the morning, first thing I do is not always, because like this morning I woke up at 4:15 in California. So that's 1:15. So I didn't call her then, but yeah.
Right.
But, so just that distance though, because I'm gone so much, it really is important for both of us that we have that communications. And she doesn't ask me to do that. Like I do it because I want to, right? I want her to know that I arrive safe. I want her to know that I'm leaving. I want her to know where I'm at, what I'm doing thing. And not because she needs to keep tabs on me, because she doesn't. But there's that. And then I travel with buddies all the time too. And I like, when you're away from your partner, you miss them, right? And then when you come back it just makes things just better, right? So yeah.
Same with the kids though?
I miss the kids. And I miss the kids too. Well, and to kind of go back to the before I leave thing, if I leave early in the morning from here, right? If the kids are asleep, if she's asleep, I always, I learned this from a police officer friend of mine. He told me, he's like, dude, I go and I kiss my wife goodbye and I kiss my kids goodbye, even if they're sleeping, because he said, I never know if that might be the last time I ever see them. So I take that with me, cause you never know, there's like, you never know. I driving to the airport, something could happen, right? Or on a layover, I could get something could happen, right? You never know.
Yeah.
So that love for them, and I just, to be able to kiss them, if that might be the last time I kiss them, at least I kissed them by, right? You know what I mean?
I do.
So
yeah, it's funny because I do the same thing.
Right.
I mean, I don't have a high risk job like you, but I carry that same sentiment.
Yeah, and it's a good sentiment to take. It really is. It really is, and I think everybody should do that. Like even going to work, man, because you never know, man. You never know when might be the last thing, right? So
I got like a question on that. What do you think is better? Or maybe worse. Let's say that. What's harder? Being away for, let's say, 365 days straight, or being away 1 week at a time for a whole year? Like 1 week away, 1 week back, 1 week away, 1 week back. What's harder?
Because I've done both. Because I've done deployments where I've been gone for big chunks of time, and then I've done it where little chunks, right? Yeah. Definitely the big chunk of time is harder.
That's harder.
It's harder because at least if you're doing 1 week away, 1 week back, at least you're home during that time and you get to see them and be with them. When you're gone for that big, huge period of time, you can call them, you can FaceTime, but it's not the same. You don't have that inner contact, that touch a portion of the love, right? Yeah. So it's that's definitely hard. And like I was saying earlier, like I missed my oldest. I missed his first steps. I came back and my baby who was just born is 6 months old now. He's changed drastically. So just being so much can change in a year. And not a lot can change in a week, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I think, definitely harder for sure.
I did kind of want to wrap it up on this point.
Okay.
Because you are such a constant traveler. I know it's for work, and I know it works with your partner because you guys love traveling and all that. But there is a cost, and it's one that sounds very calculated and you both understand. But still, there's a cost of absence. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of want to wrap it up with you addressing your family. You can look into that camera too, and just address that cost that they pay for absence of Benito.
Bro, what if I start crying? I don't want to start crying on this right here. I have huge emotions one way and huge emotions the other way too, man. No, I appreciate that. That's a good question. And to Rachel and Andrew and Bradley and Marilyn, me being away from you as much as I am, it's because I'm trying to provide for the family and to take care of you. And I appreciate all the sacrifices that you guys give up for me to do what I love to do. And I love you all very, very much. You guys are the rock that I come back to every day. So I appreciate you and I love you very, very much. Bro, I like that.
Man, there's going to have to be a part 2 sometime.
Let's do it.
I still have so many things I want to ask you, but thank you for being on BrotherLee Time, Benito.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Taisei. And thank you for watching. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you. Right. Thank you so much for watching this interview. If anything in this video made you feel something, please share this video with someone you think would feel the same way. This channel is a product of 2 brothers born and raised in Hawaii, using our skills, our story, and our growing network to unleash our creativity. For us, being creative isn't optional. It's a duty. We've got some incredible interviews and creative projects coming up, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to us. Hope to see you in the next one.